Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another video. Today is the long-awaited and promised tour video of Henford-on-Bagley, and if this is your very first video of mine, I want to introduce you to my save file. It is called the Disney Save, and I am remaking all of the worlds and Sims and everything in The Sims 4 into a Disney saved playable version of the game. I've done a few other worlds so far. I will show you guys those very briefly in a moment here, but if you want to check out the Disney Save, there is an entire playlist. It'll be linked right under this video or at the very end, and it is a speed build for every single build that I've done, a tour video for all of the worlds, a lot of the castles and the bigger builds get tours, and then of course create a sim videos and create a pet videos for all of the characters and creatures that we've added to the save file so far. There are so many videos. It's a really great way to like binge for the weekend if you're looking for something to do. Highly recommend. Again, that'll be linked down below. Today's video, we're primarily going to focus on my completed Henford-on-Bagley. I'm going to be giving you guys a tour of it. There's a couple of things that I want to explain that are going to make this world a little bit different than how I have previously released my Disney Save worlds in the past, and we'll go over that again in a second, but I do want to show you guys really quickly, if this is your first video, some of the worlds I've completed prior to this. We have Willow Creek. Now this is actually a version of my save file where I just build, so some of the households and the things that are going on in the save are not 100% accurate to the downloadable version of the save file, so I'm not going to go in depth into any of these previously built lots. But, for example, here we have Willow Creek, which is based on Princess and the Frog, Disneyland, a little bit of Beauty and the Beast, and Dumbo. And then I've also done Forgotten Hollow. It is our villains-themed world. It has some villains-themed nightclub. Maleficent, Hades lives here. Cruella de Vil lives here, and we also have the Haunted Mansion. We have both versions from Disneyland and Disney World in that world. I also have recently completed Mount Komorebi, which was a tour video just a few videos back if you want to go check out the tour video for this one, but this one is Frozen, Mulan, a little bit of Monsters, Inc. And then I always throw in some bonus lots and things that are just generally Disney themed. So for example, in this world we have a karaoke bar, and it is princess themed. Now, I do have a Patreon that supports the Disney Save. A lot of my patrons work very closely in helping me pick and decide things for the save file. I have a private Discord that is just for patrons so that we can discuss and make decisions. They get to see early access to all of the things and bonus content and stuff like that. And of course, supporting my time for the save file is just very much appreciated. So that will be linked down below if you're interested. There's various levels and perks available depending on what level you would like to contribute to, and I do very much appreciate it. My patrons actually picked the next world, which is going to be Sulani, and that's why I had to get this out, because I'm ready to start releasing some Sulani builds and Create-A-Sims. And I didn't really want to go there yet until we finally had this world completely out and available. So I will say one thing that's going to make this a little bit different than previous worlds. In the past, I have released my save file as a downloadable version of the save. I have temporarily put that on pause because I've been having some really major issues with The Sims since a few updates ago. I'm basically just having so many glitches and having to go back and do work that I don't feel should be necessary after they update the game. So I'm just kind of temporarily halting the ability to download the completed version of the world once it's complete. Don't worry, I will still be releasing the save at the very end as a complete file so that you can have all of the worlds if you want to. But for now, what I've done is everything is available on the gallery. This is my gallery ID, TomilynYT. And just so that you can kind of see, you might get some sneak peeks here, so close your eyes. But literally everything is available on the gallery for download. And the only thing that these don't really have are some of the traits and things that I'll be adding later for the completed version. So none of the jobs are applied to these characters, none of the skills or anything like that. But if you really want to get your hands on the characters and the builds right now, this is the only way to currently do it for Henford-on-Bagley. So that's just kind of the compromise for now. I promise I will release the finished versions of the world. It just takes me so much time to completely test the world, and then to have a break when The Sims launches an update is just really time consuming, and I'm having a hard time managing it. So I am just going to do this for now. So go to my gallery, TomilynYT, to get everything that you're seeing in today's video. And if you want any of the previous worlds or characters up until Mount Komorebi. That is fully downloadable on my Patreon. You do not have to be a patron to download it. It is 100% free, and the link will be in my description box down below. So without further ado, let's get into today's tour video. Henford-on-Bagley, we obviously had to go with the movies that I think you would just immediately think of for this world. So Henford-on-Bagley's theme is Beauty and the Beast. I previously had a bunch of Beauty and the Beast builds in Willow Creek before this world existed. We moved some of them over here, and they've also been modified. I'll be going over those today. And then we also finally had room to make Beast's Castle and add Belle and Beast into the save, who previously were not in the save file because there was nowhere to do a castle in Willow Creek. This world also has some Brave content and some Brave builds, and it has Snow White. We also have Rapunzel, and then we've got some commercial lots down here that are themed after the various movies, and I'm just going to be giving you guys a tour. We're going to go over all of the builds today. We will start over here in my little Beauty and the Beast section with Belle's father and Belle's cottage. And here we have it. This is Belle's cottage. We are going to be touring mostly just the builds today. I'll explain some of the households. I don't think I'm going to go into live mode very much because this is not actually a functional version of the save file. Again, this is just my build version. All of the Sims are currently living in their households, but they don't have any jobs or special traits or skills applied. It's just not a completed version. So it is a little bit different than tour videos I've done in the past. I do apologize, guys. It's just been very, very overwhelming to constantly fix the Sims and my worlds and saves every time they update the game. So this is just the compromise that I'm going with for now. But if you are a longtime viewer of the save file, you will recognize this build. It's one of the very first builds I did for Willow Creek, and it's officially been moved here, and it is slightly different considering that we now had the ability to do actual ponds instead of just making some weird fountains and pools. And this pack also added gardening, and it added animals, some animals like chickens and cows and things, which is something that this lot always needed to have. So now we have everything here the way that it was supposed to originally be. Maurice is an elder sim. He does live by himself. Of course, his house has received some updates for cottage living with the new fireplace and some of the new items. He is kind of like a tinkerer, and he has a lot of special skills and traits just because I think he's a little bit smarter, more well-rounded than some of the other village folks. So he's got more skills. He likes to paint. He likes to candle make. He likes woodworking, things like that. And his home is pretty much equipped to just be his home because, of course, Belle lives in the castle with Beast, which we will be going to visit later. Not going to spend too much time here because, of course, many of you have already seen it, but if you haven't, there is a build video and a create a sim video for Maurice from the previous world where it was located. I think I've also put out a updated version of most of these in the terms of a video so you guys could see the speed build of me updating some of these lots. The next one we're going to be going to is a new combination lot. So previously in Willow Creek, we had Gaston and LeFou and the Bimbettes, and they lived separately from one another. And they now live together in one household, and this is kind of like the village portion. So all of the main villagers live together. I do have some townies and things like that that are random townies that you see from Beauty and the Beast, but other than that, most of the main characters that you would remember from Beauty and the Beast now live together on one lot, and their houses pretty much remain the same. I did update them for cottage living, but now we have a lot of the things similar with Maurice's lot, where we have the buildings more structured in the way that you might think. It's more villagey vibes. They each have their own gardening plots. They each have some chickens and some cows, although I don't think they would be as well taken care of, to be honest with you, but I think it's important for a lot of these characters to have these types of things. So I almost made it like it's just a piece of the village, or it's like a part that you would enter. There's a little entryway over here coming off of the main town square, which is located in the back, which we will be visiting. And then there's obviously an exit over here. And if you look off in the distance, you can even see the castle over here. So it kind of works out to have everything in one area like this. This little house on the left here is the Bimbette's home. It is the same as the one in Willow Creek, other than some minor changes and updates for the pack. And then we have Gaston and LeFou's home. I'll just go inside them very briefly. You might notice very minor changes here and there. LeFou is actually a comedian, so he requires some items that are not really well for the time period that this movie takes place in, but this pack did add the keyboard typewriter thing, so I thought that that was a little bit better. Not exactly perfect, but also, what am I doing with these curtains? I feel like those were not supposed to be here because they don't fit the windows. The windows got updated. I think these are from the new pack. So we have that. And then they have their own little outhouse over here. I just did outhouses for a lot of these. And then across the way, we have the Bimbet's homes. Each of their bedroom is down in its own little nook. And they're color coordinated depending on who is whom. And then we've got a bathroom, upstairs, kitchen, living room. Last one of their bedrooms. Try to keep it pretty simple for the time period that this movie takes place in without it being completely boring and empty for homes. They do have one cow over here. They do have some chickens running around, and they've got a couple of places for gardening and things like that. So this is a very, very fun, fulfilling lot. I'm pretty sure I picked this to be... It has a lot challenge, simple living. So this is one of those ones, requires ingredients to cook and make recipes. Cooking with ingredients makes food taste better. So there's a lot challenge here. Obviously, everything is completely changeable and customizable. You can always alter things if you don't want to play it exactly how I've presented it, but at least the shell is available to you. And then we are going to be hopping over to Belle's Village very quickly. A lot of you have seen a ton of this village. It has very minor changes from Willow Creek, just some little updates here and there. Again, adding some chickens and things like that to the lot. This is a community space lot, so it transforms slightly depending on what your Sims vote for. If you have the world that adds Evergreen Harbor, which I've also created Evergreen Harbor, by the way, for the Disney save. I completely missed that on the intro. But yeah, this lot doesn't change too much. It always is meant to sort of like have this shell to it. And each one of these houses for the village is themed after what you might expect per the movie. This is the blacksmith's area. This is the baker's shop. We've got a grocery store over here with a little bit of gardening and things like that added to the back now that we have the ability to do so. We've got a library. And then we have the tailor and the florist. And then there's also just like a general outhouse lot here and a clock tower so that those are there for obviously functional reasons. There is an area up here to get food and cook that has been updated with this amazing piece by Sadie Sim, who I have plugged every time, but just so you know, I did not make this piece right here. There's a few things on this lot that are created by her, and I will link her in my description box down below as far as downloading her stuff off the gallery and checking out her YouTube channel. She's an amazing, amazing creator that is able to make these amazing pieces with tulle, and basically this is like a stove, but it fully functions and it looks a lot better for my build here compared to putting like a really modern piece. So I'm super eternally grateful for her allowing me to use those types of things in the save file, and that'll all be linked down below so you can check her out. I'll show you real quick like one of the transformations for this lot. So let's just pick, I can't remember, let's do the marketplace. So it'll keep the same exact shell. You'll still get all of the buildings, but it'll add a couple of things or take away a few things depending on what you vote for, just so that it functions within the requirements of whatever new space your Sims have voted for. So as you can see, exactly the same, but now we have some of these market stalls that are required, and I don't know if there's anything else that's really required. The picnic tables and things like that. So usually everything that is required will be right here in the middle. But you'll see some little things change and get added here and there, just depending on what you vote for, so that it's available. But largely, this shell will remain exactly the same. So that is the little Beauty and the Beast village. I just want to show you guys real quick the Sims that live here. We have Gaston, LeFou, and the Bimbettes. We are going to check out the castle real quick. This is a completely full household. It has Belle, Beast, and the primary castle staff that you would know and love. I do want to just show you guys real quick because we've had an update recently to the Beast. He was previously a vampire because it was all we had, and then we did get werewolves added to the game a few packs ago. So I've gone ahead and updated him into a werewolf version, and that's very exciting. He looks a lot better. But let's go ahead and check out the castle real quick. This is Beast's castle. One of my favorite builds I have ever done. I'm not going to spend too much time here. I actually have an entire tour video of this castle and a speed build. So if you want to see more of it and get some in-depth details for each of the rooms and go through the entire thing, that's the video for you. It'll be linked in the playlist, the Disney Save playlist. All of my tours and everything like that are linked in there, but we will just take a quick look at everything for those of you who may be new. It has a beautiful garden that I'm so excited about. It's got lots and lots of towers and spaces. It has all of the iconic rooms that you would think of. We've got the room up here with the rose. There is a library. We've got the ballroom. We have Beast's and Belle's bedroom over here. It's a little jumpy with the camera because of the way that foundations work in this game, so I do apologize for that, but there's not very much I can do, unfortunately, unless anyone knows a mod, because I've been looking for a mod forever to stop the camera from jumping into place. Here's the library. It is 2 floors with a little cutaway so you can look down towards the bottom. Everything is based very heavily off the movie. If I have reference from the movie, I will use it. If I don't, I try to make it match the very best that I can. And all of the castle staff members have their own bedroom and space. Here is the ballroom. Wasn't able to make it completely 2 levels just because we needed some room for a larger master suite for Belle and Beast, but you still get the idea of it over here on the corner. It's one of my favorite pieces of this castle. And this is a lot of fun. This is definitely one of my favorite things I've ever done. So again, tour video available if you want more of that. And we're going to be jumping back into the rest of the world, which is, I think that's all I have for Beauty and the Beast. There might be one more actually down in the little town area where we do the commercial lots. But we're going to go look at Brave. So we have the castle over here. Here's Merida and her 2 parents and siblings. And then we also have Maudie, and they have one of their, I think they had 3 dogs, but the household only allowed me to add 1. So I did do at least one of those. And then we also have a Brave themed lot over here, which again is one of these lots that transforms into a community space. It is a bit different than Belle's Village though, so we'll definitely take a look at that in a second. But real quick, we'll do the castle first. And here we have Merida's castle. Much different than Beast Castle, a lot more UK inspired. This was before we got the round walls update, and I have not gone back and tried to change this castle since, because obviously it's very time consuming, but maybe someday I will do that. I tell myself I will do that. It's got some underlying levels here where you can get to each of the towers. It's obviously built with the towers for protection in mind. And then also downstairs we have this double layer throne room, dining room that you might remember from the movie. And I put a space in here eventually for hopefully some archery, maybe if it ever gets added, but we'll see. I try to think about those things, like the Arendelle Castle has room for me to add horses at one point if we ever do get them, because obviously it would be really important for the movie. We've got the main kitchen here. Lots of hallways and passageways. This is obviously very different, right? It's so dark. There's lots of stone, lots of candles. Not quite as elegant and glitz and gold as Beast Castle, but I think that this fits so much better with the movie, obviously. We have the parents' bedroom. We have the triplets room right off of the side of that. Maudie has her own little space over here in one of the like servants' side towers. There's extra bedrooms all over the place for more characters and servant characters, although this house doesn't really contain those characters. And then Merida's room up at the top here. There's so much to explore with this castle. I believe I also did a tour video for this castle too, so if you want more of it, linked in the description box down below in the Disney Save playlist. That's going to be for you. And let's go check out the Brave themed lot. Again, a community space. This one's really fun. I hope you guys like it. It actually does transform. This is one of those really fun ideas that I believe a patron or 2 came up with, and it's one of the reasons I'm so grateful to have so many great minds working together to try to do things for the save file and just come up with some of the most brilliant things that I wouldn't have been able to on my own. By default, this lot is set to be basically the abandoned Witches Cottage from the movie that you would remember. So we'll change it back to a community space just so you can see. Actually, I guess we'll see in a second what it is by default, because I might have made it. Yeah, so this is like the witch's home. So this is what it looks like when the witch would be living here. She's got some different cauldrons, different things going on. It's meant to be like a fully functional house. The other thought was that if you really wanted, if the witch from Brave is like one of your favorite characters, I have her as a townie for this world, you could add her in as a playable character. You could make this lot a residential and then just add her in to the household because everything's here for you. She's already a spellcaster, so that's always an option. And then we have the community garden, which is going to make this obviously into a community garden space. But the difference is we decided to go with the stones from Brave. And it does have gardening plots, so you can come here and do some gardening. And the thought was that, of course, like how this lot disappears in the movie, it also disappears in this game, depending on the needs of those around. We do have a bathroom down here just for functionality, but it's mostly supposed to be decorative and just kind of a nod to the movie. Now, you might remember in the movie when Merida goes to visit the witch, she does close the door at one point, and when she reopens it, her door, the background will sort of change. So I believe when she first goes there, it's just a shop that's like a woodworker's shop, and then at one point she'll close the door, and when she opens it back up, it is her like witch's home. So this is supposed to be paying tribute to the woodworker's cottage. It has lots of little wood bits all over the place, everything made of wood, little wood sculptures. And the idea is that they would be for sale. But we do have some of these like marketplace stalls in here, so you can sell various things. The game will auto-generate what those things are, or if you're playing and like actually doing the slot, you can pick it. But it's supposed to be like a little store. And then the last one for the makerspace is the abandoned version of this cottage, but it has some leftover abandoned bits and pieces in the cottage that can be used for a makerspace. Again, using these incredible pieces from Sadie Sim, who these are like very modern looking pieces that come from the Evergreen Harbor pack. And they wouldn't look very good in this build, so she's created like these medieval versions, and they are phenomenal. And they work so much better for this lot. So these do work. You can go right up to them and use them. I've play tested it. Works great. And it's supposed to be the abandoned version of this cottage. Now, I do just want to say real quick, just so that I have this explained somewhere, if you download this from the gallery, which is the only way that I currently have this available, you're going to want to download each of these pieces individually and replace them to create the full effect of this space. For some reason, when I tried to upload it onto the gallery as just one lot, whenever people would try to download it off the gallery, the other lots would glitch out or break. So I've uploaded each one of the different lot types individually so that you can replace them, and so the lot functions correctly. So each of them is here. They're labeled exactly how they're supposed to be. You've got the Witch's Cottage that comes first, the Ring of Stones, which is the community garden, the Woodworker's Shop, that is the shop space, and then the abandoned cottage is supposed to be the maker space. And they're also listed down here under the lot type, so you don't get confused, but this is just how it has to be. At some point I might release a tray file for it, but right now that's how the game works. Okay, there is a Brave themed lot over here in the community section, but we're gonna wait. We'll just do that all in one go. We will focus real quick on these two lots back here that are residential. We have Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and this is, of course, a very classic style cottage, all a full household, but they all fit here. One thing that cottage living added that was really nice was being able to talk to birds and these little tree stumps that spawn rabbits. So I wanted this lot to be full of them, considering it is Snow White and she would and does do those sort of things. So there's lots of bird houses around. There's lots of those stumps that will spawn over here. You can see the birds and the rabbits. So there's lots of wildlife running around this. It has an outhouse at the back. It has an area to do laundry at the back. Some of these things that are already a part of the world, like these trees over here, these cars, they will get covered in the final version of the save. I'm going to use trees and things like that to just block them out. But since this is a build-only version of my save file, that just doesn't happen because it's so much work just for it to not carry over to another version of the save. And here we have the cottage. Very light wood tones, very meant to be functional. Some reference from the movie. It just kind of depends. It is a little bit of an older movie, so I tried to use as much reference as I could, but then also add some things just for functionality. We've got her bedroom downstairs here, which is very whimsical, princessy, gardeny. Still keeping with the general vibe of the rest of the cottage. And then upstairs we have the long hallway bedroom with all of the beds for the 7 dwarves, and they are color coordinated so that you could figure it out pretty easily. And I did have some good reference from the movie as well, so I was able to figure that out for the most part. Up here in the very back, meant to be super secluded and by itself, and just fits really well with the aesthetic of this world considering it's far and away. It's near this like big mountain with a waterfall. We have Rapunzel's tower from Tangled, and we do have Mother Gothel, who is a vampire, and Rapunzel living here for now. I do fully plan to make Rapunzel's castle. It'll go in a different world, and you can always choose to move Rapunzel over to that castle. It just depends, I guess, on what part of the storyline you are personally playing with, but I saw an opportunity to just create her now, and she's a really popular, fun character, so I wanted to just go ahead and put her right into the save file. And this is my Rapunzel's tower. Again, look at this. Look how beautiful it is all around. And it's at like the top of Henford-on-Bagley, but kind of away from things. I love this tower so much. I know so many of you have been so excited about this. It is, of course, fully functional. The way you get in is this ladder off the back. I did try to fit a set of stairs inside the actual tower, but it was a nightmare, as you can imagine. And then we would have the staircase kind of coming up into the middle of the room here. Didn't work out, but I've managed to make this a very cluttered, artsy, eclectic space that is very much taken as much reference from the movie as possible, with, of course, adding some additions that we would need, like Mother Gothel's room. The way you get into the tower here, you can see you climb up, and then there's actually one of these like hidden doors. This was a recommendation from a comment when I released the tour, the speed build video for this, so thank you so much for that. I added that in. I love that idea, and it did have to have a bathroom. And then upstairs, you get Rapunzel's room, which we do get pictures of in the movie, and this was, it's not exactly the same, obviously, but there is definitely a lot of similarities. Here's the upstairs portion. I tried to make it look like she's painting all over the walls without the ability to actually allow her to do so. There's lots of murals and things like that around. I did also give her an area to go out on this porch and paint, which I know is not 100% accurate to the movie because it's like, well, she can't go outside. So you could always remove that door if you don't like that, but I just thought it was nice. I don't know. So we've got Rapunzel's tower here. Really, really cool. And yeah, Mother Gothel's a vampire. That was also a recommendation from a comment or a patron. Really loved the idea. It's kind of like she sucks the life out of things, out of whatever. So I thought that was an awesome idea. It's as close to whatever she is that we could probably possibly do in the game. And that's it for our residentials up here. And then lastly, we have this little area that's down in town, and this is going to be the community lots for the world. For the most part, we have Gaston's Tavern. We have a Snow White apple orchard. We have a Brave Bakery, and then every world I try to do a rental just so none of the worlds feel like they're tourist attractions. You can literally go to any of them, and just so you can also have your sim if you make a sim self that you want to like play in the Disney world, but you don't want to like destroy any of the houses. It's an extra lot where you could put your own house down to move into a world, or you can stay there for a little while and vacation or rent or be a part of the stories inside of this world. So we have a Tangled theme cottage. We'll check out Gaston's Tavern really quickly first. This is a very old build. Again, one of the very first ones I ever did. This one has basically not changed at all. I just had to adjust the space a little bit for the lot that it's on. I think it's a different size than the one it was originally built on. I recommend going to check out the speed build video because we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but I will just peek into it really quickly. It is a bar. I'm pretty sure this world requires one to some extent anyway. It's like the town bar. I do have a CC free custom painting in this world of Gaston. It'll come when you download the save, it'll just pop up. It's kind of tricky to get those to work nowadays, but they do. And that's that. We have Appley Ever After, which is the Snow White apple orchard. It's kind of just like a garden. I think I made it a generic lot just so I'm not required to like put a grill down that the park lot requires, things like that. But it's just a really pretty garden. You could come here and picnic. There are some gardening plots to actually come and plant your own items if you wanted to. And it's supposed to be a historic monument. This is obviously the glass casing that they put Snow White in at the end of the movie. So it's supposed to be kind of like a historic nod to that. These little stickers under here spawn fireflies, so it's really pretty and has a nice essence at night. And it's sort of sectioned off, just different gardening areas. Of course, for her, we have to do the wishing well. So that's got to be there. We've got the garden over here at the back. And then the apple orchard. And these are just little apple trees you can come tend to and get apples from. Again, there will be lots of birds and rabbits and things like that that come on this lot. Lots of wildlife. Really fun, really cute. Right next door, we have the Brave themed bakery. Now, this lot is based after the Fallen Kingdom or Forgotten Kingdom from Brave. That would be towards the end of the movie. There's a fight scene between the main villain of the movie, Mordu, and Merida and her mother, and it takes place in this like abandoned kingdom. So this is supposed to be a piece of that, and I've actually taken reference from one of the Disney games where this lot was like a playable lot, and this is sort of what they came together to represent the idea of it. And now it's been turned into a bakery. Very dark, rustic, medieval looking. Very minimal, but this lot is popular. It spawns so many Sims. I'm not quite sure why. I've covered up the baker station here for with these wood blocks and things like that, just so that it doesn't look so modern and fits really well into the rest of the build. And you can climb the stairs all the way around the back side of it. You do have to use the ladder, but then you can picnic up here, eat your baked good up there. And then we'll go check out the very last lot, the rental for this world. This is Mother Gothel's cottage. Now this comes from the Tangled TV show that they released. I don't use too many references from the Disney Channel, and I try to stay away from things that are not the main movies, and also like I don't really go into sequel movies and things like that if I can stay away from it. But this was such a popular thing, especially amongst my patrons, and I was looking for another Tangled themed item to put into this world where we don't have so many things that I can do from Tangled that I wasn't ready to put into this world. We have the Snuggly Duckling and things like that, but that is actually going to go in another world and was always planned to go in another world. So it was recommended to me to do Mother Gothel's cottage, which is shown in the movie, and this is the cottage that she goes to when she gets out of the tower and she's like out and about around town. She has like a completely other cottage. She has another daughter, which was a highly recommended character that I add to the save file, and I may be doing so. And if you're a fan of the show, you'll recognize the interior of this cottage because I did try my very best to actually match it. But in general, it's just a rental. And it has some of the nods to Tangled here and there. The shell does look very much like the one that is shown in the movie. So yeah, that's the world, you guys. I really hope you liked everything. And that is Henford-on-Bagley. I hope you guys enjoyed everything. My next world is going to be Sulani. I already have some of the builds underway and completed for that world, so stay tuned for the speed build videos for those. If you would like to support everything I do for the Disney Save on Patreon and have access to special perks for supporting the save file, the link to that will be at the end of the video and in the description box down below, so definitely check that out. And if you want to check out anything else, again, the Disney Save playlist link down below. It has absolutely everything that you could possibly be looking for. And I hope you guys liked today's video. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will talk to you all in the next one.